welcome back to my channel. Glad that you're here. I'm hoping that you're finding some value in some of these kind of bi-weekly calls as we go over trade reviews. Let's see, if you have not done so already, please make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and all that good jazz that helps the YouTube algorithms do the things that they do. I know you've been seeing some steam from the no other than fancy, amazing, incredible Miss Donna as she starts to rev up the YouTube and all that other good stuff, getting ready to really start posting a lot more evergreen, informative content. So with that said, of course, we have to touch on the disclaimer that says, hello, please don't trade what you can't afford to lose. Please know that I practice high risk, high reward trading. You can follow similar, safer steps with safer, lower risk, lower rewarding trading styles. So we are doing things a little bit differently here lately where I'm going to start using the same kind of format, or I should say a comparable format that I do in my beginning morning classes as a way of tracking the progress of what we're doing with the Simplicity system. Now, remember, I only trade the system 1 to 3 times a month for approximately 20 minutes. I don't even look. I have an automatic manager that does it all for me. I don't micromanage. I have a pretty low risk percentage on this particular account, and I just let it do what it's going to do. So this is going to be slow. It's not going to start off pretty and sexy and amazing. It's going to start off as real. It's going to start off as something that you can see it grow. You can see the good, the bad, and the ugly, and how this all comes down. So of course, I've got a couple of year journal, in terms of chicken scratch and cute little notebooks that show, hey, last week we got 3,000 pips or 4,000 pips or 400 pips, or hey, we got 2 wins, 2 losses, or hey, we only got like a 20% accuracy, but because we took an index, we still technically got 2,000 pips. So we've got all that in writing, but I want to make sure we can track this according to not only my FX book and some of the other tracking software, but also digitally. So it helps with the powers that be, and it helps, I think, with you guys to be able to see what we're doing. Now, I don't want to spend a whole bunch of time. I don't typically do this one week after another. And since last week, as you can tell, this is barely 6 days away. Please note that this is US time. This is not chart time. So chart time is technically the next day. So this is going to get a little convoluted, if you will, but we'll do our best to make sure we've got this in a measurable way. You'll notice that last week, if I could stop messing it up, last week we didn't have a great week. Not good, not bad. I think we broke not a whole bunch of pips altogether. We had 2 wins, 1 loss, 1 holding, and 2 no entries. So what you're going to see me do is I'm going to roll over the odd JPY to this week, right? These are the pairs that I'm going to be looking at today. This is what I'm looking for them to do according to the Simplicity system. And then in 2 weeks, which is going to give this a heck of a lot more time to play out, we'll come back and say, hey, how did these perform with the rules we already have predefined, with the settings we already have predefined? Then we can continuously do this. So if you're pretty new to trading, please make sure you go to your link tree. Please make sure you download a couple of those, sign up for a couple of those brokers for like a demo account, a paper trading account, and just get comfortable on the platforms. Just get comfortable trading alongside me. It costs you nothing. It's free on YouTube. It's 1,000% doable for, I dare say, most people if you have what it takes to stick with it. So without further ado, I'm going to show you a little bit about what we've been doing in our morning classes, which is kind of part of my private membership, as well as Super EZ and Be Free University right now. Only 3 places where you can access these calls. We have a couple of new trades from this morning, but overall, all to date, actually, I should say since February of last year, we've got over 500,000 pips. This year alone, we've got 340,000 pips. This is kind of what our trade journal looks like for what we've done only live and only in classes. So we're going to do the same thing here, free on YouTube for you guys. Now, let's go ahead and go over to the charts and take a look. First off, we're going to review, and then we'll look at some new setups. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to start down here. Notice I'm on the 1 hour time frame. I'm using the Simplicity system. I could spice it up or spice it down as much as we needed. I can zoom in to where y'all can see the candles. I can zoom out to where it's super ugly, but the picture is still the picture. You guys get the idea. So you know that the candle that we're looking at and that we're discussing from where we were at last week was technically, oh man, I'm going to have to check myself again. Let's go check my calendar. So that was technically on the 30th, which is Tuesday American time, which is the 31st chart time. So that's about the 3 o'clock candle from where we were looking. So that's the 31st 3 o'clock candle. That's the candle we're looking for down here at all times based off of this review. On that day, we looked at these aqua colors. That's the blue kind of these trades right here, as you just saw in the trade journal. So we're going to start there. We're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. As you know, some of these just didn't hit. They didn't come up and break that next fractal from where we were looking at it at the time, right? So remember, we're looking at the 31st. We didn't come back up beyond there to break this area. So we just ended up never really getting that oomph from where we analyzed it. So it never took off. Of course, we pushed down lower. And as of right now, we don't have a trade. So I'm going to go ahead and take that off of our watch list. That one's done. Continuing on. Odd JPY, this one's a little bit tricky. As you can see, we've made a higher high. We did not come down enough to even capitalize on the profits. Actually, that happened on GBP CHF as well. So if we come over here, August 31st, we're coming down to that 3 o'clock candle. Okay, this is where we're at. We technically did just barely wick into this area. So these wicks would have got us in based off of the rules that are duplicatable and predefined. So as of right now, this trade is active and in drawdown, and you can see it's still pushing up. Thank you, Japanese yen. Not a pretty situation, but if you remember, stop loss is at 1 hour structure plus 1 ATR cushion room. So we have a little bit more room. Mine is pretty darn close to a stop loss, but until mine hits, I'm going to hold and say, okay, I'm doing this in a systematic, definable, digitally accurate, duplicatable way. So we've got a trade manager that does it all in the way that we're saying that we're doing it. Obviously, broker to broker, you're going to see certain differences. So yes, as of right now, this is still valid and in drawdown. Not the best way to be. If and when we come down into profit and we're not comfortable, by all means, close it at a break even or negligible loss, because this Japanese yen is not turning around anytime soon. CAD Chef, let me see. CAD Chef was also the one that had no entry. Just wanted to make sure I was double checking. I don't have my other broker up down here. I have different ones up, testing some different things. But coming all the way over, we don't end up coming into what we needed to come into when we were looking. We discussed on the call, we really needed to break some structure, and instead we didn't get that break. So of course, let me see, going back. So after pullback, the reason why we're not counting it, I wanted to make sure that I'm defining this right and keeping track of my notes digitally and not just in person. We were looking for the pullback, but as you can see, we don't have the simplicity re-entry. So because of that, unless you have either the golden strategy that I use in the morning or you went to a smaller time frame, we didn't get the confirmation we needed based off of after the pullback that we defined on that call. Again, that should be in the YouTube video. So go back and rewatch that if you're not sure or if you're unclear. Now, technically, after that pullback, did you get enough pips to have closed and been profitable, even if you took the later entry after pullback? Yes, you did, technically speaking, but we're not counting that as a positive anything because we had no confirmation or continuation of that move that we can accumulatively and duplicatively say, hey, this was good. So with that said, that's off of our list for now. Oh, why is that all weird? Odd NZD. I'm still in this trade. Actually, I've got a couple of entries from all the way up here. We took a couple here as well. So from where we're at, I'll try to find the exact price point. 30 o'clock candle. Around here, we say we're waiting for the pullback, but we needed the continuation. So even if you got in from the break, okay, did you at least get your 50 pips enough to, protect? Yes, you did. This is still a profitable trade. You should be up and should be looking for a short-term pullback, but looking for the rest of this continuation of the downside. If, on the other hand, you did get in and you took the candle and the confirmation, by all means, you've got I don't know, I think it's 100 and some odd pips from that second entry. But still, overall, you're in profit by anywhere from 30 to 50-ish pips. You should be definitely considering trimming some of those, moving your stop loss into profit, applying a trailing stop, cutting your gain short, and just letting this do its nice little pullback. And then we're selling it down. My target is way the heck down here in total, all the way down to 1.1055. My target's going to be in this window. I don't know exactly what it is on my other broker, but anywhere between 1.079 and 1.1055. Great targets, great way to be. This one's technically still valid. We're going to keep that up. So GBP odd is also, as you can see, we've got a lot of pips out of it, but it still has a lot more room to go. So I don't want to close this out just because. I would anticipate a pullback. So we have a nice break of previous structure. We got a nice little retest into that zone. I would anticipate a decent pullback and then the continuation all the way up to where we previously discussed on last Tuesday's call. So what can you do? From where we looked at it, let's go to 830, 831, dun, 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 if we're allowed, 831, maybe, baby. Trying. Still the 1 hour time frame. 831, we're trying. That's 8 o'clock candle. And now, of course, we've got this range. So we broke above that fractal and around here. Of course, we came into some drawdown, but since then we're up 132 pips. I'm only up 122. I'm assuming that's because the spread, give or take, every broker is going to be a little different. It is what it is. So with that said, anticipate a pullback. I am still looking for this to go. So if you want to wait till the break of this fractal, you can. I wouldn't necessarily advise that because this is a very big stop loss. Even if you put your stop loss here, the odds of it coming down to wick that out before taking off is really high. So this is not an advantageous stop loss, in my opinion. Now you can do what makes you happy. Otherwise, wait for the pullback and take the continuation. Of course, you can take it at the break of the fractal. So still technically a valid trade, still holding, and we're in a good place. Last but not least is GBP Chef. This does unfortunately count as a loss. So on here, we've got about negative 85 pips, give or take. And it's going to vary broker to broker. But if we come over here to the 31st on the 3rd, let's see. And around here, we were breaking that candle actually on this call. So we were breaking this fractal while we were live in this moment. Technically speaking, we came up already 40, 47. I think I measured 47. Anywhere from 47, 43-ish pips into profit. But that does not meet the minimum requirements that we have previously set and defined as a way to duplicate the results that we're getting. So with that said, some of y'all might have been happy campers with the 43, 47 pips you got. Unfortunately, I can't count that, so I've got to count it as a loss. So coming all the way over here, if it will let me, to the 3rd break of that fractal, here's our low, that's 78. Adding the ATRs and a 1 hour cushion on that, yeah, you're looking at least 85, 87 pips. And that was the lowest low. Even if we zoom out and make it super ugly, this at the time was the lowest low. But great place to start because we'll stop in terms of trade reviews. Great time to start trade analysis. And here's why. As you can see, we've got another buy signal on the simplicity. In no shape, way, or form am I saying this is a perfect system, this or any other. I don't think any system is, not even my morning system. I don't think anything under the sun is absolutely perfect. I do think we have another impulse. We failed to make a higher high. We're trading in a zone. I'm sure you guys can see this nice little box. If I zoom out a little bit, we're going to see a huge gap to the downside, and we've already filled that gap. So this is where it gets really, really tricky. I'm going to go down to the 15, got to sell. We gapped down. We've already filled the gap. So what do we do with this, especially if this gap's down? Well, we know the powers that be and the government and everything that's in charge of everything else. They have a whole balance of power in terms of interest rates and inflation control and all the stuff that they're trying to explain and or redefine. I am in no shape, way, or form an expert on that stuff, but I'm pretty good at technical analysis and I'm really good at trading. So with that said, here's where we're at right now, 1.13344, give or take. This is a pretty big ask. This is a 30 pip ask. But if I wanted the confirmed buy on this pair, I would need to wait to the break of this fractal right here. Okay. There's just not a better way, at least not right now, if I'm only going to do a 20-minute YouTube video. There are 1,000 other ways, but if I'm only doing this 20-minute YouTube video, this is what I would say. I would say if I zoom out, this has a lot of room to the top side. It has, even just from the break of that fractal, if you guys can see, into the next liquidity voids, we've got another 100-ish pips, all the way up to 200 pips. Not a bad way to be, not bad at all. Now, granted, we've got quite a few GBP pairs and USD pairs. So if you're going to sit out on one of these, you guys can decide which one you want to sit out on, because obviously you can't be in all the GBP pairs. But overall, I do think this is a reasonable buy. I think it's at a pretty good position. One of the hesitation points I have is that we just gapped down pretty heavily. So my entry is going to be at the break of this fractal, period, across the board. My management is 1 hour structure plus 1 hour ATR. And I'll take it or leave it. I'm always protecting within 50 pips. If you're pretty new to trading or you have a smaller account, you can say, hey, I hit 1.5 ATR of this pair. I'm protecting. I'm going to scale out of some of this. I'm going to apply my trail. I'm going to move my stop loss and a profit. I'm going to close and I'm going to be done. I'm not going to be greedy. You have an endless amount of options. So pick the one that best suits your personality. So that's the first trade idea for today. We're going to make this purple. And I'm going to just work my way backwards, I think. Well, yeah, kind of. I guess I got to go to the bottom first. GBP, Euro GBP. One of the reasons I love this pair is if we take a look on the 4-hour, we've got a little bit of divergence. It's a little harder to see on this level. We've also got a potential double top, which is 67 pips on the low end, 75 on the high. You'll notice we have not completed that yet. We really haven't paid for that measured move, which would make our minimum target, like what is this, 0.8541, definitely a decent chunk of pips away. So an easy 50 pips on a pretty reasonably expensive pair, depending on the broker you're on. So with that said, back to the 1-hour time frame. We've got our nice impulse. We broke and made another lower low. We actually, if I grab my crosshairs, we even beat previous lows. So we've definitely got some downward momentum and we've already pulled back. So in front of you together as a group, I'm going to come over here, Euro CAD or Euro GBP. Lord knows I can't talk. Sell at now. Okay. Not even waiting for that fractal break. I'm comfortable with where it's at. I know that my pullback, this is a grand area. Now you can wait for the break by all means. Why would I not take it here knowing that that's my perfect 50 pips? This in and of itself, it definitely makes it to where I've got my measured move kind of paid for. My risk to reward on the small end, looking at 89, probably about 115-ish pips at the very most for a stop loss. That's the very highest, probably closer to 105 in total. I can live with that because when I zoom out, I know that my first target is going to be in this range, right? It's going to pay for that measured move. So judging from where we're at right now, where the price is currently at, 50 pips is my first target. If we look to the left, that's going to fill some of this void. My next target, again, looking for the left, is going to be to fill the rest of it. So still kind of the same zone if you're asking me, because that's only a 15 pip zone, if you will. But looking to the left a little bit more, now we've got this 80 pip target, right, in this range. Cool. That's a great way to be. It's going to make a beautiful 4 formation. That's 94 pips away. So we're already close to the 1-to-1 risk reward ratio that we need. Beyond that, we've got 0.84541. Beautiful target. And of course, my target is going to be in this range, just 157-ish pips from where I'm currently entering. Not bad. Great risk to reward. Well, I shouldn't say great. Good risk to reward for a swing trade, and definitely on my list. So there's one. Now, actually, that's 2 trade ideas. USOIL next, just kind of working my way backwards up the list. I was a little hesitant, and I remain a little hesitant to discuss USOIL. For those of y'all who have worked with me for a long time, I don't typically trade a lot of oil personally. Having said that, I trade all things technical analysis. So a couple of things to bear in mind. This is the 3rd quarter of the year where price manipulation is significant because it affects the entire year economically in more ways than one. I'm not going to get lost in the sauce and explaining why and how. For all the new stuff I don't know, that much I do know. So this quarter is super important in terms of prices. Do I think oil prices are going to skyrocket during this quarter? I don't. So bearing in mind that reality, I think on a fundamental level, I think on a technical analysis level, this is US 30 1-hour time frame. We've got a triple bottom. We have proven quite a bit of rejection off of this zone on more than one time frame. This is the 4-hour. This is the daily. So in many days, we've really stayed in this zone, right? Since July. That's July 12th. So we've got a couple months hanging out here. Back to the 1-hour. I'm not dare saying that this is a forever move, that this is all the gas prices are going up. In fact, I'm reasonably confident they're not going to let that happen at least until the end of October, based off of their need to control prices for their cost purposes, right? I do think that this has some room to push up, and that's 380 pips all the way up, 760-ish pips for a stop loss that if you entered right now is maybe 150 pips. Not a bad way to be at all. You're at like a 6-to-1, 7-to-1 risk to reward ratio. entering right now and not waiting for a break of a fractal. So this is USOIL 1 hour time frame. We have a buy on the simplicity system. We officially made a higher high. We came back into range and failed to make a lower low. Zooming in one more time. Can't really call that. Can't call it a railroad. Can't call it quite a few things, but it's really close to quite a few things. Can't even call any of this a super significant candle formation. So we can't even call a spade a spade. We can say we've got a little W forming. We can say, hey, at the base of this body, this is it. The base of this body, meaning this candle right here. And the spread would already knock you into that anyways. And that price point exactly is 86.650. So I'm saying at 86.650, this is already 100 pips. So for those of you guys who don't know, every broker is going to charge this differently. Everything that you trade is going to be traded a little bit differently depending on where you live, the broker that you have, the leverage, the kind of account you have. But this may or may not be worth a whole bunch or maybe even a tiny bit depending on your broker. So either way, bare minimum target of 100 pips with my stop loss, even giving it plenty of room, 1-to-1 on the bare minimum target. That's not a bad way to be whatsoever. So again, just for GP, I'm going to come over here and not say buy at fractal. I'm going to say buy at now. And we know what time we're recording this because it's recorded. Well, it takes a little bit of time, I think, to get uploaded on YouTube too. But that's USOIL. So we've got 1, 2, 3. GBP CAD is next. Same kind of concept. You guys know the drill. Have to notice that there's quite a few GBP pairs on the table. We cannot possibly be in all of them at the same time. So you have to pick and choose which one best aligns with you, which session you trade, which one you are most familiar with, most comfortable with, or the value of most lines up with your account balance. So many factors. I cannot any sooner choose a star in the heavens and make those decisions for you. So with that said, simplicity buy signal, we have officially made a higher high. Of course, we rejected in a nice little liquidity zone. We came back into range, and this is where we're sitting. So at the break of this fractal, if I could zoom in and stop being so messy. Got our first target, easy. Our first target's only 50 pips. That's going to be that 2-week ADR. That's doable. Next target's about 118 pips. Beyond that, I'm going to be targeting right over here, 280 pips. Beyond that, 300. And I'm pretty happy with 390 pips. So I don't need much more than that. Are we going to get that many pips and how many weeks is it going to take? I can't say, but definitely has some buying potential on this pair. I'm excited to see how it performs, and I will definitely have a pending at the break of that fractal right there, right here. So can you get a slightly better entry? Technically you can, but for duplication purposes, that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. So if it's not noted, we're doing it the right way. So GBP odd we already covered because that's a continuation. Odd NZD we covered, also continuation. Odd JPY ugly, possibly about to be a loss, but also a continuation. And now we've got last two on the board is use USD CAD and then of course GBP USD. So before I go into the USD pairs, I know we went over US oil. We have to at least acknowledge that the US dollar is hecka strong, y'all. It is really strong, like really, really strong. So doing anything that goes against this is a fool's errand, and we need to at least acknowledge that. So with that said, please make sure you're not going all in. Don't go hard on these USD trades. Don't take all of the GBP trades. It's just a recipe for disaster. Becoming a long-term career trader means being able to withstand and or be profitable in multiple kinds of markets because you follow a systematic set of rules that are duplicatable for you, right? So back to USD CAD. This right here, any sell that we take on this is saying that the US dollar is weaker than the Canadian dollar, okay? Oh, I probably should have pulled up a currency strength indicator, but I did not. I'm sorry. I'll have that pulled up maybe next time. It just takes up too much space on my chart. Yes, 1 hour time frame, we have a sell signal. Here's where the sell signal took place exactly. We have yet to get the continuation from that exact price point, just so we can all see that with our own two eyes. Here's where we got the signal. None of the candles from this point on have actually broke that level. So we're going to treat this really mindfully. Yes, I'm going to follow the same rules, which are when we break the most recent sell fractal, I will be looking for a sell. That's reasonably far away. So reasonably far away for this pair anyways. That's 40 pips. Definitely reasonably far away. But yes, this is what I'm doing is as soon as we break this area, I'm going to look for the sell. Now, can I get wicked in and it shoot up along with the other USD pairs? It absolutely can. So trade this mindfully. If you want the earlier entry, by all means, take a look even at the break of this zone. Say, hey, once we broke through all those candles, at least we have the time to protect it in this area. So let's see what that looks like. In this area, that's not even 50 pips because this is not a super fast mover. The last thing I'm going to point out is take a look. The ADR for the last 60 days, 20 and 5. So that's the last 1 week, 4 week, and gosh, math in public, that's 12. I think it's 12. Don't quote me. I'm probably putting my foot in my mouth. Has exceptionally slowed down. So we are waiting for an explosive move. It might not come on the sell side though. So we have to really be mindful of that. We have to be very careful of what we're doing. But yes, overall, I am looking for this to sell down. And that's USD CAD. Only taking it with confirmation. My risk is going to be tight. I'm not doing a 10, 20% trade on this pair. I'm not doing it against any USD or Japanese pairs, for example. It's just a recipe for disaster. But I'm also not afraid to continue to trade my trading style in a market that is questionable, because the trading style should be able to handle multiple markets in theory, right? So yeah, USD CAD looking for the sell, as we have notated here, at the fractal break after this time frame. So we started the recording about 6:30. And now, of course, we're at GBP odd. Well, GBP USD, same kind of concept. We already looked at the US dollar. The US dollar is incredibly strong. Trying to buy this is saying the US dollar is weaker than the Great Britain pound. Just so we're all on the same page. And right now, everything under the sun is telling us that the US dollar is incredibly strong. So with that said, simplicity gave us a buy signal. This is a reversal based signal based off of many, many conditions. Since we got it, technically we have got the continuation, and we already got 50 pips out of it if you had taken it immediately. But that's already 54 pips right there. Since then, we've pulled down right into a beautiful range. We have failed to make lower lows. In fact, we're making slightly higher highs across the board, right? Slightly ish. Each one is slightly higher than the last. As we speak right now, we've got several bearish candles and a little bit of consolidation. So same kind of concept. At the break of this fractal, I'm going to be looking for a buy. Now, again, US dollar is choppy. JPY is choppy. Well, choppy is the wrong word. It is trending. Choppy is the way wrong word. This is trending. So with that said, please be mindful. Be super mindful of how you take these trades and how you manage them. But that's all I have for today. So quite a bit on the board. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's 6 total trades, 1 continuation, and a couple of other things we're going to keep tracking for the following weeks, because I never do like a 1-to-1 week ratio. Sorry, this is a little fugly, but you guys get the idea. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'm really hoping that you guys follow suit, kind of come along with me as we're doing what we're doing. So if you have any questions, comments, all that good jazz, please make sure you put them in the chat. Otherwise, thank you for every single one of you who support me, who love on me, who do all the things that you do. I could not do 99% of everything I do without you. I hope you guys all have a beautiful day, and I am not going to make another one of these for 2 weeks. So I'll see you on the 3rd Tuesday of the month. Take care and God bless.